Brothers and sisters, we're recording this. Today is the feast of the blessed Masabki martyrs, Maronite martyrs. We ask the Lord for their intercession. But our reflection today is on the Gospel from Matthew 16, chapters 5 to 12. In coming to the other side of the sea, the disciples had forgotten to bring bread. So Jesus and the disciples are going to the other side of the lake, and they forgot to bring bread with them. So they are now occupied with bread and food and lunch, probably. Jesus said to them, "Look out and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees." So Jesus is telling them to be careful of what the Pharisees and Sadducees are teaching. Because earlier, before this passage in the chapter 16, Jesus was disputing with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They're attacking him, and he's trying to explain to them his message. And now he's teaching, warning his disciples to be aware of these people. But they're thinking about bread. So their answer was, they concluded among themselves, saying, "It is because we have brought no bread." So Jesus is talking about big things, about their mission, about how to react to people, but they're thinking about bread. Why? Because our perceptions of reality sometimes, our judgment is hindered by past experiences or with what we're thinking about. When Jesus became aware of this, he knew what they're thinking. So he said to them, "You of little faith." So we see that Jesus here got a little mad with them. I'm talking about big things, and you're thinking about bread. "You of little faith, why do you conclude among yourselves that it is because you have no bread? Do you not yet understand? And do you not remember the 5 loaves for the 5,000, and how many wicker baskets you took up? Or the 7 loaves for the 4,000, and how many baskets you took up? How do you not comprehend that I was not speaking to you about bread? Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees." So Jesus mentioning these words, understanding, remembrance, comprehension. And this is our lives, brothers and sisters. We live our faith, but many times we forget about the power of God in our lives, about the intervention of Jesus in our lives. We listen to our instincts and our judgments that are not built on His teachings of forgiveness and acceptance and understanding. So Jesus is asking us to always think of big things. How many times we come to church, and instead of to liturgy, to mass, and instead of thinking of the teaching of Jesus, we get preoccupied with little things. How people are dressed today, and the weather, and things that, or if somebody said something to us, right away we jump on the person without thinking of why that person is saying what he's saying. So Jesus wants us to be aware all the time, smart, happy, with others. So then the last verse here says, then they understood that he was not telling them to beware of the leaven of bread, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. That's good. Then they understood. After they listened to the teaching of Jesus, they understood. And this is the message for us today. Brothers and sisters, we need to listen to God, to what He wants from us. And don't judge to judgment, or don't jump to judgment immediately. Before we listen, we understand and be aware of what Jesus wants from us. So be aware of evil and evil people around you, but at the same time, be ready to forgive anyone and anybody. Amen.